Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to master 20 brand new vocabulary words by diving into the thrilling, true story of an underdog racehorse who completely captured a nation's heart. By anchoring these terms to a real historical narrative, recalling them later is going to be a total breeze. So, let's get started.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, the legend of Seabiscuit. Then, defining the words A through L, followed by M through Z. After that, synonyms and antonyms, and finally, putting words into action.
Section 1. The Legend of Seabiscuit. Picture this. It's the 1930s, and an America ravaged by the Great Depression was absolutely hungry for a hero. Now, you wouldn't necessarily look at Seabiscuit and see a champion right away. Take a look at this knobby-kneed, undersized horse here. Hard work at a young age had made him completely lethargic, meaning dull, slow-moving, just lacking energy. But everything changed in 1936 when he met Charles S. Howard, a wealthy businessman. Howard put together this incredibly unorthodox team. You got a silent trainer named Tom Smith and a jockey named Johnny Red Pollard, who, get this, was actually blind in one eye. Together, this team began a nomadic existence. They were wandering from place to place, traveling all over the country to race. Let's walk through this timeline to really build the narrative arc of Seabiscuit's life. He was foaled in Kentucky in 1933. Because of his mediocre early performance, he was sold to C.S. Howard in 1936. Now, by 1938, his record had improved so drastically that he was set up for the match race of the century against War Admiral. But tragedy struck that very same year. His jockey, Pollard, suffered a heart-rending, meaning deeply distressing and causing mental pain, accident that shattered his collarbone. Despite that massive setback, Seabiscuit pushed forward, ultimately retiring to quiet seclusion or isolation in 1940 at Howard's ranch.
So, because Pollard was sidelined with that terrible collarbone injury, jockey George Wolfe stepped in to pilot Seabiscuit in that legendary 1938 contest against the Eastern horse racing establishment. And wow, it was a sensation. We're talking 40,000 fans at the track and 40 million people listening on the radio. Seabiscuit actually beat the favorite by 4 lengths. Pollard, who was watching from his hospital bed, just couldn't resist a dry remark. He said his horse had turned War Admiral into a Rear Admiral. Now, Pollard was never a braggart. He wasn't one to loudly and annoyingly boast, but you just have to smile at that perfect, quiet delivery.
And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute pinnacle of Seabiscuit's quest, his relentless search and hunt to beat the Eastern establishment. Crossing that finish line at Pimlico Racecourse didn't just win him a race, it forever reinforced his status as a true American legend. He wasn't just a horse anymore, he was literally a symbol of gritty determination.
Section 2. Defining the words A through L. Like we said, seeing these words in the context of our Seabiscuit story really primes your brain to remember them. Let's look closely at our first block of words. We have abound as a verb, meaning to be plentiful, bragget, which can be a noun or an adjective for someone who's boastful, cache, a noun for a hiding place, clarification, making things understandable, despondent, an adjective for being sad or without hope, and embezzle, a verb meaning to steal entrusted property. Actually, I want you to specifically connect despondent back to our story. When Seabiscuit pulled a ligament in 1940 and everyone said he'd never race again, Howard and Smith did not become despondent. They didn't lose hope, and it's that exact belief that led to one final, glorious comeback.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we group emotional states right alongside physical states. We've got heartrending, an adjective meaning causing mental pain or grief, sitting right next to physical descriptors like lethargic, which means unnaturally sleepy or slow-moving, and malady, a noun representing a sickness, illness, or disease. Oh, and we also have leisurely, which means unhurried. Seabiscuit might have had a leisurely demeanor and been a bit lethargic early on, but he certainly had no malady where it counts, right? In his heart. Section 3. Defining the words M through Z. We are officially crossing the halfway mark of our vocabulary list. Let's read clearly through these. Mellow means ripe or well-matured. Nomadic means wandering from place to place. Piecemeal means one piece at a time. Quest is a search or hunt. And random means by chance. Notice the flexibility of some of these words too. For instance, quest has a dual nature. You can use it as a noun, like the quest for victory, or as a verb, to quest for something. Similarly, piecemeal has great flexibility, acting as either an adjective or an adverb to describe something that's happening gradually. Rounding out our dictionary portion, rant is to speak wildly and noisily. Reinforce means to make stronger. Seclusion is isolation from others. Status refers to a person's condition or position. And finally, turmoil is a state of great confusion or disorder. Actually, to really cement that definition of turmoil, let's connect it right back to the Great Depression setting of our opening story. Seabiscuit's fans were living their daily lives amid the absolute turmoil and confusion of an economic collapse. Grounding the definition with that historical context just makes it unforgettable.
Section 4. Synonyms and antonyms. Let's move to this and see how this builds. Knowing a word's relatives and opposites is honestly the absolute secret to true vocabulary mastery. It's how you go from just recognizing a word to actually actively using it. Take a look at this comparison. On the left, we've got words you likely already know: ailment and affliction. Connecting our new word on the right, malady, to these familiar concepts creates this powerful mental web. You aren't just memorizing a flashcard here, you're filing malady away in the exact same mental drawer as ailment, which makes sure the new word sticks securely in your memory for good. Now let's use the exact opposite approach with antonyms. Look at the left side: hasty, hurried, hectic. You can almost feel the chaotic, stressful energy of those words, right? Now contrast that with the right side, the calm, unhurried, easygoing nature of our vocabulary word leisurely. Sometimes understanding what a word is not is just as helpful as understanding what it is. Section 5. Putting words into action. All right, it is time for active recall. This is where the learning truly gets locked in. I'm going to read a few prompts directly from the workbook and pause slightly so you can play along and guess the answers in your head. Let's start with choosing the right word. The sentence is, "The eternal quest seclusion for youth and beauty explains the huge sales of cosmetics to men as well as to women." Take a few seconds. Which word makes sense here? The correct answer is quest. Awesome job if you got that. Remember from our definitions earlier that quest means a search or hunt, which just perfectly fits the eternal pursuit of youth and beauty described in that sentence. Seclusion or isolation wouldn't make any sense there at all. Next up, a completing the sentence exercise. Arthritis is a blank that attacks many millions of people, especially in middle and old age. I want you to mentally search your list of 20 words for the one that specifically means a sickness, an illness, or a disease. And the correct answer is malady. So the crucial point is that since arthritis is a physical illness, malady is the exact right puzzle piece to complete this sentence perfectly. Let's try another, choosing the right word. As I was in no hurry to get where I was going, I decided to set a rather random, leisurely pace for myself. Reflect for just a moment on that contextual clue at the very beginning: in no hurry. The answer is leisurely. Spot on. A leisurely pace is relaxed, easygoing, and completely unhurried. Great job keeping pace with these exercises, by the way. You are mastering these definitions beautifully. Okay, one final test question for today. This is a synonyms exercise. Which Unit 12 word means the exact same thing as the bolded word in this phrase was caught up in the chaos left by the storm? Think back to that Great Depression setting we talked about. The correct answer is turmoil. Fantastic work today. You've just mastered 20 challenging words by anchoring them to a truly unforgettable piece of history. So I'll leave you with a final thought to ponder. Which of these words will you use to write your own legend today? Challenge yourself. Drop piecemeal, lethargic, or quest into a conversation later. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to conquer the next unit with you.